Alright.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry about
There
it.
we go.
I'll send it again.
Where we belong.
So, lastly, I guess these bow videos, I basically just one day got really obsessed with the idea of bows and like what the bow represents. And then I thought, how do I turn the bow into kind of more a human quality?
And with her previous work, if anyone's familiar with her Women in Cars, her old series, she doesn't like to talk about anymore. And she told someone in Belgium 2 days ago, I don't like to talk about that work anymore. She always obscures the face. And so I think my opinion is that you were looking for new ways to obscure the face but go on to a new series. And she feels, speaking of authorship here, I'll just talk about what you do. She feels that, you know, once the face is in there, there's so much baggage, and you can't really read the narrative anymore. It's just like, oh, is she pretty? Is she laughing? Is she sad? Is she this? So that's where I think you were starting to look for the bows. And then I was painting, I remember she came in the studio and she said, you're not going to believe this. And I said, what? She said, they make bows so big. I just found them online.
Yeah, the beauty of the internet.
Yeah. So that's where those came from.
So, and then this.
But this, you know, the videos, though, that's where doing the films and doing the music videos for our band, which we do ourselves, you know, you learn all these quick little tricks. You know, that's just split screen, and it's both Nicola. Using the wood paneling is a great split screen trick, because there's always a seam. So, you know, that stuff helps feed us. And one thing, we had a friend. We had 2 music videos we didn't completely make ourselves, and one, a guy from LA came out to help us make it. And one thing he said that really stuck with us is he said, well, why don't we look at the music video, because I know there's no budget. Maybe we just say, what one thing we can maybe spend like $200 on that will give the video real production value. Never really considered that term, production value. So we try to do that a lot in our work too, since we're both builders. It's like, you know, this has a lot of production value and would be very expensive for someone to make that wasn't a builder. But for us, we think it adds production value to the exhibition, while it doesn't cost us anything because we know how to do it. You know, so it's like looking at your skills and what do you have that you can use that other people perhaps you know, may not, that will help your work have a different characteristic than others. But were you going to say anything else about the videos?
No. Oh. They're really distracting.
Yeah, so we'll go somewhere. Let's go around again because they're loud. Oh, wait.
Well, should we?
I don't want to stand there and
Are
talk.
we done talking?
Well, no,
Maybe
we're going to do
we
questions.
should just do, yeah.
You want a
Maybe
question
we should
about
just do
this?
Did you want to move first? So that's
questions.
nice.
I didn't know if you're going to ask about
Yeah,
it.
I wanted to ask a question about some.
Okay.
Sure.
If this is question time.
It is question time.
Okay. Since you guys are talking so much about work, I thought it'd be interesting to find out from you guys what's something that you almost wish you didn't have to talk about because you'd be more interested in finding out what other people thought about the piece. So what's something that you put out there that you almost wanted to hear everyone else's opinion and what they thought about it?
Oh, in this show?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Hey, lady.
Oh, I was just saying that since you're talking about everything, if they had a piece in the show that they almost wish they didn't have to talk about, so they could find out what everyone else thought about it. If there's like a piece that they thought would be more exciting if it was open-ended to the point where you didn't have to talk about it.
Well, I was
I was going to say,
talked about it too
I know,
much.
probably the point to know people's level of excitement or disappointment. But
Yeah, I mean, this would be the one I'm most curious, what people would have to say about it. So you start. It's your question.
I actually am surprised now that I didn't think that I could just move the cone, but I thought I could step on your artwork. Sorry.
all right, anybody else?
Or other questions?
I was curious about the description of the piece. You said, and the same with the trash can. I'm forgetting the title, but you would like to include that it's fake tile and fake brick. I don't know. I was just curious about that. don't know, the kind of plastic feel, some of that stuff you would find in like a commercial bathroom, like a office building, and what that kind of means. Or even like, I mean, I'm sure everything else in that stall is probably like the lowest, and just for the sake of demonstrating, but I was curious.
Well, I think it may even just be a little bit of therapy of why we have to include those descriptions, because, you know, we do construction work at times, and it's like kind of a good way, like even when we did the exhibition at the mattress factory, I mean, if not one time a day, 2 times a day we were going to Home Depot, and you have to keep telling yourself, I'm going to the art supply store. These are art supplies. Like, I'm not going to do like construction work. And so I think that's why it is like really important, like each material is really important in the fabrication of the piece.
And sometimes it really comes down to logistics. I mean, we said we were going to tile this, and we were going down the aisle, and we were like, shit, they make that in sheets.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to do this. Like, that's work, you know, like, yeah, so that really came out of necessity, and I didn't know they made it. And it's funny, because at the opening, I mean, quite a few people came up and said, I cannot believe you tiled that. And we're like, well, yeah.
Although we did caulk the corner. So.
It is up to code.
It is a little bit up to code. Although we did not grout the toilet.
We did not. We're returning it to Home Depot. Remember, that's one of the best art supply stores there is, because you can use it and return it at any time. So, yeah. But then, like, just a fun side story, because we've been so serious all along here. It was so hard to find well, originally our first piece at the Mattress Factory was going to be a huge room of bathroom stalls that were a big maze. And once we got into the logistics and how expensive these things are, and it was just not a big enough space there for how big we wanted this maze, and we were like, okay, let's take that piece and reduce it to like a starting point. Like, we can see ourselves doing a series of these. But so we ended up finding it on Craigslist, but we were on our way to go to Pittsburgh to do something there. And so we actually drove just like 12 minutes off the highway, picked it up in a parking lot, you know, met this guy off Craigslist. But it was just pretty funny, because he was like, so, what are you going to do with this? I put it on Craigslist, but I was about to build a hotel for those wiener dogs.
Yeah, for corgis.
It was just really great. Like, what are you going to do with it? We're like, we're going to put it in an art show. But anyways, I don't know why I wanted to tell that story.
Because it's funny, and
they're heavy.
They are very heavy, these things.
All right.
Anyway, another question.
Wait, I have a question
Yes.
about that. So how does this, I'm sure you probably don't know, because that seems like kind of a weird situation to be in, but how would something like this fit into a hotel for corgis?
Well, he said he had more stalls, and he was going to put these down to the floor or something, and each dog would have their own corral.
It's fancy. It's rose colored, and I wouldn't want to live in there if you were only this big.
Fair enough. I would accept this.
So I feel like there's a ton of people here, and I'm really excited just to see how many people come out to see your talk. And I was curious, if you were to say one risk that you wish more artists in Detroit took, what would you guys think would be some interesting advice where you like wish people did more multidisciplinary things, or maybe they didn't take themselves too seriously? Like, what's something you think would be?
You broke them.
Well, I could ask something too, you guys could think about it.
Do 2 questions at once.
Well, do you want to finish this first? I was curious about the aesthetics. You talked about coming from a very personal space, and then the aesthetics, both physically and the paintings, as well as the videos, are very clean, manicured, almost non-visceral. But the skulls are like suddenly become like the most visceral thing.
Yeah, it's pretty dirty. And
Yeah, and it's kind of funny because now
Unlike
it's like
us.
getting visceral towards it. Like